Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Looky here. This is a prime example of a stamped steel frame. It's like automotive manufacturers will stamp out a fender and then they got a left and a right and they weld them together in the middle. So this is a complete stamped steel frame. It does have a tube right here, but even up here, this is that stamped? No, that's not stamped right there. But that's the only part that isn't stamped. Okay? Prime example of what American motorcycle lovers hated about the Japanese motorcycles. So before we go out there and put it in the wood, what we're going to do is we are going to see what the displacement is. That way we can have some expectations. I've already measured the stroke off camera. And the way that you do that, I got my dial calipers here, right? You've got this part that sticks out right there. Well, you put it on the top of the piston, drive the piston down by hand, mark how much it was. In this case, it was basically 52. It was 52.25 millimeters. And then all the way at the top of the stroke, I held this in place and I rotated the piston while the piston pushed this up, and it landed on 20.89, which gives you a stroke of right there at 32 millimeters. So, and which is, I would completely expected that. 50cc class saws, it's like they've completely figured it out. 32 millimeters is like the perfect stroke. So, and again, if I wasn't clear, I completely expect this thing to be 52 cc's, all right? Because 58 cc's would mean that it needs to have a 48 millimeter piston, which is quite over square. That's a big piston and a little bitty stroke. You know, it just typically, that doesn't get made. And it's known that these Chinese saws, they just straight up lie. They just lie about how many cc's they push out. So here we go. I'm going down with the piston. So the way I'm going to do this now So I'm going to go all the way to the back of the cylinder. I got it sitting right on top of the piston, and we're going all the way to the back of the cylinder up against, I think, there we go. Let's do it again and lock it in place. All right, we're at 66.57. 66.57. There we go. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but to the face of the piston. So 23 dead even. So 23 dead even. Geez, that's a 43.57 millimeter piston. God, that's funny. Let's do it again. So if my calculations are correct, with the 43.57 millimeter piston, then you could expect it to be considered a 44 millimeter piston or 44 millimeter bore, which would put us at 48.657 cc's. That's funny. It is. It's funny to me, okay? Zero that out. Okay, so we're going to go again back to the back side of the cylinder. And I know that this isn't the most accurate method, I get it, but it's what I have available to me. $66.91. And then to the actual face of the piston. $23.33. So yeah, we're looking at 43. Yeah, 40. Basically 43.6 ish. 43.6 on the actual size of the bore. And now there's a little bit of difference in there because I'm going to the face of the piston, not to this side of the bore, if you can understand that. So clearly it's a 44 millimeter bore. And a 44 millimeter bore combined with a 32 millimeter stroke gives you 48.657 cc's. So this is a 3-cube legal race saw, or well, if you wanted to race it. So yeah, honestly, I was hoping for 52 cc's, but the fact that it is, you know, I think that most manufacturers would call that a 49 cc. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. What precisely is the verdict? The verdict is, feels like all my other 50cc saws. Feels just as powerful as everything I got. It doesn't feel as though it has as much RPMs as like my 2153, which is the same thing as the new edition 346 XP. So it doesn't feel like it's got that much RPMs, but it does feel very similar torque-wise. Definitely feels as good as my Poland, the small block high tops, my Craftsman 3.3 and Poland 335, which are both 54cc saws. I am impressed. It was running real rich from the factory. I leaned it out, but then if you saw in the video, whenever I leaned it out too far, I lost torque. And so I put the fuel back to it. The chain's cutting real nice. I mean, it's not the best, but it's cutting real nice. I fully expect that it will wear quickly because it's probably softer metal made in China and all that jazz. But I'm going to stick with it until, until we see for sure. what I'm fixing to do right now is I am going to actually put a piece of tape right here. I'm going to put a piece of tape, wrap it around the handle, and every time I put a new tank of fuel in it, I'm going to put a check mark. I'm going to put a little slash. That way I'll be able to count up how many tanks of fuel I have in it. Actually, you know what? I'll put it right here. I'll put it right there. That way I'll be able to count up how many tanks of fuel before something breaks. You know, I really want to modify this, and so I will. You know, the tanks of fuel isn't going to stop me from modifying it. I'm not going to keep it in stock trim, you know, so that I can see how many tanks of fuel it takes to whatever, break in, all that crap. I freaking like it, and I love the colors. I love it. Can't wait to use it more. So, anyways. Ding. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. Really, do it. There we go. I got some of this Blue Hawk masking tape. There's my first tank of gas. And I have all of these, both of these sides to fill up. So, we'll see. So far, I'm really impressed. 80 bucks. Now, granted, I did get an exceptional deal. But, I mean, I think you can buy these on Amazon now still for like, I don't know, for like 120 bucks or something. They claim it to be 58 cc's. It's actually 49. That's wild. But anyways, I like it. And this frame is from a Honda CT90. This style, this series of motorcycle is the #1 sold motorcycle on the planet. More of this series of motorcycles have been sold than anything else. They made them from 50 cc's all the way up to now they're making them 125 cc's. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. The Chinese chainsaws and the Chinese scooters are eventually going to take over everything. Whether you like them or you don't like them is largely irrelevant. And that's sad news to a lot of people. I understand that, I really do. But it is what it is. Nobody's going to be able to keep up with them. And eventually they're going to start making stuff to the same quality as what we consider amazing professional stuff. Just, of course, my opinion. A lot of you guys might be thinking, oh, Bodie, shut up. You're full of it. And I have been on a lot of different things in my life, and I'm okay with that. I think it's because I'm so good looking. Doesn't bother me to be wrong. Oh, I could hear the subscriber count falling. Ding, 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 ding. This guy's an asshole. Just having fun, guys. And I'm having fun with that little chainsaw. It's, I expect it to be great. We'll see. We will see. And there will be more videos on all of them to come. Look at me, I'm churning them out, man. I'm like a milkmaid, churning. Yeah, anyways, enjoy the videos, guys. I enjoy making them.